Hello and welcome back to LJT MTG, your one-stop shop for anything statistically unlikely Force of Will related. We've got a fun video for you today. Liam and I both made the top 4 of the October MTGO async we've been playing in. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we don't actually have any footage from Liam's side of the bracket, but we do have my footage from the top 4, and the games with Esper Blink are nothing short of spectacular. If you like this series, feel free to give us a like and subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments below. We always love interacting with the community, and I'm really excited for you to see these great games. So without further ado, let's get to them. All right, so we are heading into our game against Goif. Thank you for agreeing to be on camera, Goif. I really appreciate it. I know that it can be a little daunting, especially if you don't do it all the time, so I really do appreciate it. This hand is interesting. There aren't really a lot of colorless spells in... I guess there are, like, they're artifacts, but, like, things that are worth countering are a little less common in Citadel Storm. Again, I know what we're playing against because it's the top 4 of the MTGO async, so it's just the same thing that we've been playing for the month of October. This hand has no pressure. It has like no reasonable interaction. I think I have to mulligan it, unfortunately. This hand is great though. Fiend into Sin Collector is exactly where we want to be. The question is, do I want to get rid of Overlord of the Bailmerk, or do I want to get rid of Sin Collector? No, I want to keep Sin Collector and Mesmeric Fiend. Do I want to get rid of Ghostly Flicker, Spectral Restitching, or Overlord of the Bailmerk? So the Restitching is interesting because I can actually use it in this matchup. So I think I'm going to get rid of Ghostly Flicker here, in case I don't draw the 3rd land for the Sin Collector. Restitching, like, I can just play during a Citadel combo to potentially shut it off, you know, like Exile, Citadel plus Aetherflux Reservoir, or just Exile, Citadel after it resolves, like, once they cast the first spell, just to give myself, like, an extra turn. It also, like, just being able to flicker Sin Collector, I think is good enough. It's going to be a lower rate as well. Looks like my opponent went to 5. So hopefully this Mesmeric Fiend is as good as it looks. Let's take 2 from this Hallowed Fountain. We'll cast this Mox Jet. And we'll play this Mesmeric Fiend. So the interesting thing about the Fiend here is that they can bounce it with the Aether Spellbomb. So I think I'm supposed to take Balance. If I take Pentad Prism, they can play land and just balance, and then I have no cards in hand, etc. This is a pretty nice mulligan for my opponent, though. Balance being one of your better cards in this spot. Next turn, if I draw land, I get to play Sin Collector and take the Balance. Because they can't... I guess they... Or, sorry, not take the Balance, sorry. I get to take whatever they drew, or I can play Overlord of the Bailmerk. Pentad Prism, yeah. So this Aether Spellbomb is actually kind of crimping my style here. If I could hold up the Spectral Restitching, but the problem with that is... Oh, they're personal tutoring. Interesting. Okay, so I can actually assume that they're getting Tinker here. Yeah. Tinker being on top, hard to get rid of here. Okay, so if I play Sin Collector, I... Spectral Restitching is at the beginning of their next end step. I could Spectral Restitching exiling their Pentad Prism because I know that they're not drawing the mana for Tinker, and the Pentad Prism won't have a charge counter on it. So then the following turn, they bounce my Mesmeric Fiend to get their balance back, and they have to draw land off the top of their library to deal with that. I really want to draw another land here, but I don't think there's a way for me to influence how I'm drawing. So I could also, I can, on my end step, Spectral Restitching the Pentad Prism and the Aether Spell Bomb. Then they don't have the option of tinkering at all. I mean, they're not going to have the option of tinkering regardless. I mean, let's just attack first. Because then, once their Tinker's stuck in their hand, I can eat it with Sin Collector. So keeping the Spectral Restitching was the difference between winning and losing this game, potentially. Yeah, so it's the next end step. So if I end step Spectral Restitching their artifacts, then they don't get them next turn. They draw Tinker. I play Sin Collector, eat Tinker, and then I'm like really far ahead in this game. Especially if I draw fourth land for draw step Restoration Angel Sin Collector on their following turn. Well, the Spectral Restitching has actually been pretty relevant in a lot of these games. I still don't know if it's like necessarily super good, but it's definitely something to consider. So Thoughtseize is worse than Tinker here, even though I could like Thoughtseize Overlord. I just want this Tinker completely out of the game. Oh. Once I get this Tinker out of the game, the dangers of like I guess I could have Thoughtseized into Overlord because it's better against balance specifically. And maybe that's a consideration. But I don't know. I feel like once I get rid of Tinker, this game becomes a lot harder for Goyf to win. Because now they can like send my Mesmeric Fiend back to my hand, untap, cast balance, but then unless they draw land, but if they draw land, they play it and they sack the land. Then we're at parity. Except for my deck is better at producing lower cost threats. Plus, they have no way to cheat Citadel into play for like a really inexpensive amount of mana. And if they don't draw land here, they go like balance. Okay, yeah, so they drew the land. So they're willing to sacrifice the land to get rid of my whole hand. That's fair enough. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to Overlord with the Thoughtseize there just because it gets around the balance. I don't know if I had considered that enough. But again, I do like the idea that the Tinker's just gone. Like, they have no way of getting it back. Like, if they draw Noxious Revival, like, they can Personal Tutor for what exactly? I have 3 mana, so, like, the rest of my deck is, like, pretty live draws. I'm just gonna play lands here in case I draw sequences like Quantum Riddler into another draw spell. Let's just F6 here. Drawing Inquisition is whatever. I do think Quantum Riddler might be like our best draw here. I'm not sure. Brainstorm. Okay. If they Brainstorm and don't play a card, I think I'm going to cast Inquisition unless I draw a reason not to. But yeah, if I had Thoughtseized, then the Overlord would be taken down here. But again, if they, say, Brainstormed right now into a way to get Tinker back, then the Overlord's not going to be fast enough anyways. So I actually think that's a pretty interesting decision. I would be curious to hear from you, the viewer, if you feel like I should have cast Thoughtseize into Overlord, or if you feel like I should have cast the Sin Collector. Okay, so I can Takenuma and get back Overlord or Sin Collector, what have you. They kept a card in hand, so now the decision I'm making is whether or not I want to Inquisition the card in their hands, or if I want to cast my Takenuma. I think I'm going to Takenuma on their end step. I think it's pretty unlikely that they have a fetch land, or that they have relevant cards in hand. Or that they left their relevant card in hand and not on top of the library. Talisman good. Like if you're brainstorming there, you keep your second most relevant card in your hand, and then the top one on your library if it shuffles. So let's get this Takenuma going. So this Takenuma is going to be pretty interesting. I think I'm going to get Recruiter the Guard because it starts the Recruiter chain with Soul Herder. So I think I could Jailer here, but I think I'm actually just going to Inquisition and play Recruiter and get Soul Herder. Inquisition clearing the path, so yeah, I get to get rid of that Prismatic Ending. Now I get to Recruiter the Guard, get Soul Herder. I could also just Recruiter the Guard for Opposition Agent, but I think I'm going to get Soul Herder. Actually, if I get Oppo Agent, like, I don't really understand how they win, right? Like, I guess they have to have removal spell into other stuff. I'm just going to get Opposition Agent here. Because I know their next draw, because of Brainstorm, is probably not that good. It could be, like, 4 mana something. But then, if I have Oppo Agent in hand, I really get to brick a lot of what they're doing. Okay, let's just attack for 1 with the Recruiter the Guard. I'm just going to play Oppo on their end step next turn. They're pretty unlikely to play tutors into it, but, you know. I could have played it on my turn, because then it shuts off any fetch land that they draw or any slow tutors. I think I'm going to let this consider resolve. We'll see if they put anything in the graveyard. They kept it on top. Interesting. Talisman of Hierarchy, sure. So I'm just going to cast Opposition Agent here. I think they're trying to build towards natural Citadel, like just cast it from their hand. I think it is Jailer time. I'm just going to Jailer and hit them for 3, play Jailer, draw an extra card. I'm hoping to draw a flicker effect here, so like specifically Cloud Shift, or I mean, best in slot would be Ephemerate, but I just want something to protect my Opposition Agent. Tamiyo, not really a great draw there. They do have 5 mana, so they could actually natural play Citadel. Okay, so they actually drew the natural Citadel. Really interesting. Sort of unfortunate for me that they brainstorm locked themselves, but they were able to keep a hand that sort of plays around this. I mean, I still have Oppo Agent in play, though. So, like, even though they're looking at the top card of their library, like, this Opposition Agent cuts off a lot of their potential outs. They don't have a land on top, and they don't have a spell that's good under Opposition Agent. Let's get Undercity Sewers here. We're just going to try and find any piece of interaction. Any way that we can interact with them. Let's get that Verdant Catacombs out. Okay, so Charming Prince means that I can Prince my Recruiter of the Guard and get something on my end step. Let me see. I'm just going to take a quick look at my list here. Esper Blink. I could get Bowmasters. I could get Snapcaster Mage for nothing, because I won't have the mana. I can get... I don't have any other flash threats, so I guess I'm probably just going to get Bowmasters. I could also Watcher for tomorrow and then bounce it with the Charming Prince to try and see if I hit anything relevant from there, but I think I'm just going to hit my opponent for 6, play Charming Prince, bounce my Recruiter of the Guard, and then get Bowmasters and basically say, like, okay, you have to find a win through an Opposition Agent and a Bowmasters with 6 life, effectively. So let's play the Charming Prince. Exile target creature I own. Let's exile this one. I guess I'll play the Tameo. I might as well. Because I don't think I'm playing around days or anything like that. No. Okay, so I draw a card. If I draw Flicker Effect here, I'm really, really happy. Let's grab Orcish Bowmasters. I think there maybe is consideration to Bowmastering now, so that they can't cast, like... no, there's no... I don't think they have any 6-drops. Signature. See the sign odd. Dread Fugue. I guess I'll cast my Bowmasters now. They could have like a way to get balance back. Maybe that's something like a consideration, but I might as well just cast the Bowmasters now. Yeah, Talisman, they go to 1. Chrome Mox, sure. Like, they can 10 me? But yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Spectral Restitching was the whole game there. If I had kept the Ghostly Flicker, I would not have won that game. It turns out that the Overlord would have been better, like Thoughtsseizing into the Overlord. It's so close, though, because, like, exiling Tinker is so... It just feels so good. These are the types of hands that I'm never really that sure about against Citadel. Like, I have a fast Mox Straw, where I can get blue-white, play a Spirited Companion on turn 1, then I can, like, Charming Prince it to draw some extra cards. But, like, the Reanimate feels like it's going to be useless. Touch the Spirit Realm isn't actually worth nothing, because I can just play it and exile one of their artifacts. Guide of Souls is a pretty reasonable clock in and of itself. This hand's really close. I could scry 2 off Charming Prince as well, like if I feel like I need to find more stuff. They begin the game with 7 cards in hand. So I guess the question is, do I feel like this hand provides enough pressure and disruption? So I play turn 1 Spirited Companion, and I can turn 2 touch the Spirit Realm, the artifacts that they play, ideally, if I draw land. If I don't draw land, then I'm kind of in trouble. The Reanimate's not really going to be that good. But if I do draw one of my... I guess I have to draw into a Black Source as well to play, like, sort of the rest of the cards in my deck. I think I'm going to mulligan here. I think if I had perfect mana, I might keep, but... this hand's just not really keepable. Cloud Shift, 4 lands, Glassblue Mimic, Flicker Wisp, not really where you want to be in this matchup. I think this hand's even worse. Mimic can't copy anything. Flicker's bad. Yeah, we're going to 4 here. Okay, so we're definitely keeping this hand. I think I'm going to get rid of Guide of Souls, and I think I want to keep Momentary Blink in case I do hit one of my discard snails. Like, I could keep Dowerport Mage to try and get some, like, stuff going, but if I keep Overlord plus Blink, I think I'm more likely to hit, like, relevant interaction. So I think I'm just going to get rid of the Dowerport Mage. Oh, I guess I have to get rid of a bunch of stuff, so let's just get rid of Blink here, because I'm on 4. Mulligan to 5 from my opponent into a mulligan to 4 from me. You can't make it up. This is just how Magic is these days. The Taxon Probe's funny because, like, it does give my opponent perfect information, but they were going to get perfect information pretty quick here, or close to. So what's my best draw here? Wow, Force of Will's really interesting because they don't know about it. But if I don't play turn 1 Tameo, then I'm pretty sure my opponent is going to sniff out the Forcible regardless. I think I'm going to play the Tamiyo because I'm so far behind that I think I actually need to start getting like clues off this Tamiyo. It does mean that instead of playing Bailmerk next turn, I'm probably going to crack clue to try and find blue card for Forcible. And worth noting, it's pretty unlikely from a spot where they play Tapland that they turn to me here. It's more likely that they just like fetch and play Talisman. It's not impossible that they can turn to me here. In which case, you know, like, yeah, then I would have like survived if I had kept the Forcible with the Tamiyo. And also there's the likelihood that I maybe don't draw a blue card, so I can't actually like cast the Forcible that's in my hand. The thing about all those plays though is like I really need I'm really far behind in resources, and I really need the cards from the Tamiyo, I think, to like get to the point where like one Forcible isn't going to be enough to win this game. Like I need to have the Tamiyo in play, drawing cards while also actively Forcibling my opponent. I'm just going to see how many blue creatures I have in my deck. So I know Towerport Mage is on the bottom, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think it's more likely that I hit a blue creature off of this Overlord than it is I hit anything off this Tamiyo. So I am going to crack this Vista for black and play the Overlord. I really do want my Forcible up on this turn. I think them killing me on turn 3 from this position is not nearly as unlikely as winning on turn 2 from the previous position. So let's just crack this Vista. We'll get our Swamp. We'll cast the Overlord. And we'll hope to hit a blue creature. I'll take any blue creature. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm not going to take anything else. Even a discard creature would be not where I want to be. And wow, I hit the Mockingbird. That's really good. And the nice thing about that is there wasn't a really obvious card that I would have taken over like to take the Mockingbird over an obvious card. Like the Grief isn't obvious because yeah, if I had a black card in hand, I would Grief, but Enlightened Tutor. What does Enlightened Tutor get? Enlightened Tutor gets the One Ring, Static Prison, Dress Down, Wishclaw Talisman. Sure. I think I'm just gonna let the Enlightened Tutor resolve. I don't think this actually matters that much. Or not that it doesn't matter. Sorry, but like I just don't think this is where I want to be spending my Force of Will. Mana Vault. Okay. So they clearly need more mana for something. I think I'm going to let them Mana Vault here because I think they're going to Tinker this turn. And if they Tinker, I can Force of Will it. What does Mystical Tutor get? Does it get the Tinker? Is that what's happening? I could have Force of Willed the Force of Willed the Mystical Tutor. And I think that might have been worth it, potentially. But yeah, I had a feeling they would just crack their Chromatic Star to try and get this Tinker down. And, like, maybe they have Force of Will, maybe they don't. But I really want them to have spent all of these resources to try and, like, equalize the game state here. Like, you know, if they have Force of Will, it is what it is. But I think, like, this game state is a lot more winnable to me. I mean, I could still very well lose, but... Okay, let's attack with our Tamiyo. We're going to draw a card and I guess hope to hit a white land to play this Guide of Souls, or to hope to hit like some sort of discard spell. Okay, I think I'm actually going to play this island and crack a clue, because if I draw a discard spell, I kind of want access to it to like deal with whatever is left in their hand. And I don't think playing Guide of Souls a turn early is actually as relevant. So I'm going to crack a clue here, and if I draw a discard spell, I can cast it. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to duress my opponent. Defense Grid, Tendrils of Agony, Drift of Phantasms. So I guess I'll get rid of the Defense Grid, although I don't know how much it does here. I guess I have Force of Negation left in my deck. I also have Opposition Agent, etc. I mean, the Tendrils just isn't nearly as relevant. I don't know what Drift of Phantasms can get, but I'm gonna pass the turn here. I'm just gonna F6, and I'm gonna look at what Drift of Phantasms can get for my opponent here. So it looks like it can get to Fairy. Okay. My opponent didn't draw anything. So we're attacking with Tamiyo. I think I'm going to... I need to figure out what my opponent can get with this Drift of Phantasms. So I can get Teferi. I guess I can take whatever they get with my Mesmeric Fiend. So I don't actually think I need to cash in my Fiend just yet. But I will if I draw another land, potentially. Or I might just flip my Tamiyo. I don't know. I'm going to crack a clue here and leave the swamp open just in case. Gives me more options. Okay, that's fine. Let's just pass here. Our Overlord's ticking down too. I want to time my Mesmeric Fiend. Like, I really want them to transmute, like, draw land and transmute this Drift of Phantasms so I can time it with my Mesmeric Fiend to sort of, like, time walk them in a way. I still have no pressure on, so, like, I'm hoping I draw a white source for this Philia, and then I can blink the Overlord and start to get the pressure on really fast. Okay, they're duressing me. Yep. They see nothing. So I know they have Tendrils, Drift, unknown card. Okay, so if it's Tendrils, Drift, unknown card, I think I'm still drawing cards off this Tamiyo. I really do want the white source to start to get the pressure going. And if I draw just another basic land, I can flip the Tamiyo and start that clock. Or I can, like, get back to rest from the Tamiyo, etc. So let's just crack a clue again and try to hit this land drop. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to take 2. I think I am just going to play Philia. I'm trying to think if there's any reason to play the Mesmeric Fiend. I think Philia providing a little bit more of a clock is better, and I don't necessarily want to flip the Tamiyo just yet. I could have flipped Tamiyo and upticked it, and then the next turn Duress plus Mesmeric Fiend, but I think I'm a little happier with having a Philia in play. I guess Balance is something I could have considered. Like, Balance is one of the best cards against this draw, or against what I'm doing right now. Let's play Ophelia here. I can bounce this Pentad Prism so that they don't have access to mana. Quantum Riddler, I could also bounce the Quantum Riddler. I think I'm just going to bounce the Prism so they don't have access to mana. I don't need to bounce the Overlord because it's coming off this turn. I could also wall, bounce the Pentad Prism, and flip Tamiyo. I could Guide of Souls into Mesmeric Fiend, bounce the Pentad Prism, and start to gain, like, a really significant clock over my opponent. I have to consider what happens if my opponent draws. I'm gonna attack. I have to consider what happens if my opponent draws balance, and, like, how that impacts my game. Like, it's possible that my correct line here is to actually just draw 2 cards off of Tamiyo and start to uptick it. Because then the following turns I have are really significant, and they can't get rid of all the cards in my hand even if they draw balance. I think I'm going to do that. I think my clock is actually going to be over 2 turns, so I might as well flip the Tamiyo to get access to Duress the following turn. And you know, it lets me draw more potential land action here. Is it worth it to play the God of Souls, or should I just play this tap to Fiend's Tower? I'm just gonna play the yeah, let's play the God of Souls. I think that's fine. Let's get the Scrub Land, and we'll play the God of Souls. I think the God of Souls technically changes the clock by 1 turn. So now I can just, like, Mesmeric Fiend them, Duress them next turn. They don't have mana, so if they draw 3rd land, they can't Tinker because it's in their graveyard. So we know they have 1 unknown card. Drift, Tendrils, unknown. Whatever they get off Drift, I can take with Mesmeric Fiend. If they don't get anything off of Drift, I can Duress them first to see what they have. And then I can Fiend them. The only thing I'm considering is that they could top deck, like, they could play a tutor that puts something on the top of their library. Okay, so they're going for the transmute on the Drift of Phantasms. They're getting solve the equation. So solve the equation in hand. Okay, we drew subtlety. I think I'm gonna... I guess I'll attack first. No, attacking doesn't seem that good. Well, actually, if I attack first, I can maybe flashback something more relevant. I don't know what's more relevant than duress. I'm just gonna get my information here. When you're this far ahead, you need to make sure that you are playing accordingly. So like I'll take Yawgmoth's Will here, and then I'll take solve the equation, and I like unless my opponent draws exactly balance, I think I win. Okay, Philia. I guess I'll flicker the oh no, I don't want to flicker the Overlord. I could flicker the Tameo. That doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna flicker anything. Can I put any creature from my graveyard in my hand? Okay, I can. Let's do Grief then. I guess I could Lauren their Pentad Prism. No, it doesn't matter. I'll get Grief. So Grief is actually a nice hit there because it takes their solves the equation without giving it back to them if they draw exactly balance. Cast Grief. I think I'm going to keep this Rafine's Tower in hand in case they do draw balance. I think I actually want that. I think I want that land in hand so I can potentially rebuild. Take the solve the equation. The nice thing is now I've dealt damage, they can't really Citadel me, and wow, that's the match. Okay, cool. Editing Trent here. Well, looks like I made the finals. I didn't want to spoil it at the beginning of the video, so we're just gonna head right back into the action. Unfortunately, Liam did fall in the semis to our finals opponent, Taffy. But let's see if we can take them down. All right, it's time for us to challenge our opponent in the finals of the October Async. I know that my opponent is playing Jeskai. Oh. I know that my opponent is playing Jeskai. So I'm going to pull up the list just to see if it's a stock list. But you know, the channel knows that I'm pretty familiar with Jeskai in general, so I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to look for specific things in the list to see if there's anything really different. Looks like there's a Triumph of St. Catherine. That's pretty interesting. Two Wrath effects and Wrath of the Skies and Terminus. Everything else looks relatively straightforward. I don't know what they're missing in place of the Triumph of St. Catherine, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to keep this and we're just going to play turn 1 Charming Prince. We have Momentary Blink to get some more scry going. Force of Will is not the best in the matchup, but I think when you have a Mox, you can get out to a fast start, especially on the draw. I'm pretty happy to keep this hand. You know, maybe we cycle Rafine's Tower at some point. I think I'm going to play Verge into Jet first, unless they play... It's possible they play something like a Tameo here. Since they're fetching, or a Ragavan. If that's the case, I'll just play Caracas and bounce it. I'm not really that worried about playing a blocker right away. Okay, so they play a Ragavan. So now our best draw is probably something like a discard spell, so I can Caracas the Ragavan and then either decide if I want to discard it if I think that my Caracas is going to be taxed or what have you. I'm just gonna play Caracas and pass. I don't want them to pay 2 mana to dash the Ragavan out. So I could play Mox Jet here. I think I will. Pretty low percentage for me to get punished. I don't really think this Jeskai list has any way of oh, they do have like Prismatic Ending, which could punish me. I think I actually might keep this Jet in hand just to conceal the information and not get punished by like a Prismatic Ending or a March of Otherworldly Light. We're just going to wait for begin combat here, and then I'll bounce the Ragavan. And then we can tap out next turn for Spellseeker, potentially. Depending on what they do. I could also just, like, play Charming Prince to scry to holding up Force of Will, and then bounce the Ragavan with the Crocus on the next turn if they replay it. I didn't really want them dashing the Ragavan, so that's kind of the reason why I'm waiting to bounce it. Oh, good luck, have fun to you too, my opponent. Thank you for agreeing to play. And yeah, if they waste me here, I can just bounce the Ragavan. Now they're gonna replay it. And then I can just play Charming Prince. I could Force of Will the Ragavan now that I don't have like a consistent answer to it. Because I'm gonna be playing Charming Prince on turn 1. I guess I could play Charming Prince and then Force of Will whatever the removal spell is, if that's the case. That way I can trade with the Ragavan. It's a little worse if they do have like the removal spell or whatever, but it's a little better if, I mean, I guess I could just draw like Wall of Omens. That's a really good draw. This not Force of Willing there also gives me outs to draw like 1 mana or 2 mana 1/1 draw card creatures, which are particularly good against Ragavan here. Okay, Wall of Omens is a great draw, and the Boggart Trawler means I get to cast Spellseeker next turn if I want it, or I could just play tap for Fiend's Tower. Oh, I actually can't cast Spellseeker because my Flood Farm Verge doesn't make blue. So next turn, I guess I'm going to be probably holding up Momentary Blink. I might just cast Charming Prince on my Wall of Omens too. It really depends on what my opponent does here. They might attack and commit a Galvanic Discharge or a Lightning Bolt. My guess is that they don't have anything like that. So I think Skyclave was a pretty reasonable draw. I think I'm just going to Charming Prince my Wall of Omens and play a Fiend's Tower tap to give me access to blue mana on my next turn. Still holding up Force of Will plus Spellseeker, but I'm starting to get like some engine stuff going. At 5 mana, I can Skyclave and then respond with Momentary Blink to exile 2 things. So I've kind of got like a good later game plan. So I think I'm just going to cast this Charming Prince here. Could Spell Snare me. I think if they Spell Snare me, that's fine though. Yeah, I'm just going to let that go. I don't really care about that. Keeping the Force of Will in hand for bigger plays that let them leverage this Ragavan, I think, is kind of where I want to be. The question is, next turn, do I want to Skyclave Apparition, or do I want to play Boggart Trawler to exile their graveyard so that they can't cast any graveyard-specific spells, like Abhorrent Oculus next turn? Like, for example, this turn they could be playing Fetch just so that they can get Surveil into sixth card to cast an Oculus next turn. Underground Sea is a pretty interesting draw. I think since I drew Underground Sea, I'm maybe supposed to play the Boggart Trawler. Because my Skyclave can take care of other permanents that they could cast, but I really don't want to let them free roll cast things from their graveyard. The argument to keeping Boggart Trawler in hand is if I want to use it again, I would have to use a Blink effect, and that might not be good against a potential Ancestral Recall in later stages of the game. But if I play Trawler and I play Sea here and I draw another white source, like, do you get to Skyclave plus Momentary Blink at some point? I could also play Underground Sea and just pass the turn and plan to Momentary Blink my Wall of Omens. I don't think that's really where I want to be. And I think playing the Boggart Trawler as a land doesn't really do anything here, because like I don't need the extra black source. I could Skyclave the Ragavan, but I think that's pretty low impact. The Ragavan isn't really doing much right now, and if I play the Boggart Trawler, I can block with that, even if they kill it with, even if they try to kill Wall of Omens. I could play Spellseeker to get like some sort of flicker effect or a Swords to Plowshares, but I think I want to keep it for the Forcible. I actually think I'm like pretty far ahead here in sort of the long game waiting plan, so I'm just gonna play the sea to ensure that I don't get dazed here. Since I know I'm going to be playing the fourth land anyways, there's no reason to hold it in hand. Just going to play the Boggart Trawler. Maybe they counterspell it. I think if they counterspell it, I'm fine with that. Invert polarity. I I don't really think this does that much from my perspective. Like, it lets them deal 3 to me next turn. Um, and then I can Skyclave my own Boggart, and if my Skyclave dies, I get a 3/3. I think I'm okay with this. I don't think there's any reason to Forcible here. I mean, they could also lose the flip, right? Okay, it looks like they got the Boggart Trawler. To me, I feel like this invert polarity means that they almost definitely have a graveyard like based creature in they almost assuredly have a graveyard based creature in their hand, like a Born Oculus or a Murktide. Um I guess the worst case scenario would be like Murktide into like play land, Murktide, counterspell your Forcible. Yeah, I just get to block the Ragavan here. I'm taking 3 damage, but that's fine. It's not really a big issue. I think I would really like to draw White Source here, if I was going to draw land. A blue spell could also be pretty reasonable. This looks like Oculus to me. So here's the question. I could force a will the Oculus, but if I draw white land, I actually think it's better to um, Skyclave, then momentary blink the Skyclave the Oculus, and then I can take the Boggart Trawler and they just have nothing and I have Force of Will. But if I don't do that, then I'm gonna Skyclave their Oculus and then I'm just getting attacked for a bunch uh, each turn. Plus, they could have a Force of Will in their hand themselves. So if I do the Force here now, I'm guaranteeing that the Oculus isn't going to be part of this game because they could force me back and then I get to do my Skyclave. So yeah, if I draw land, I'd like to draw white land here. And yeah, it looks like it would have turned out better to do that. Since Ragavan's pretty weak, I think I'm actually just going to play white land and play Skyclave Apparition to kill the Boggart Trawler. And then I'm just gonna chill with my Momentary Blink and probably use it on Wall of Omens, but we'll see. Because I own this Boggart Trawler, so it's the creature's owner that makes the illusion. So now they can't even really attack with Ragavan. I mean, they couldn't before anyways because of the Wall of Omens, but... Okay, they're Miracling Triumph of St. Catherine. So that means I'm probably gonna be momentary blinking my Wall of Omens. Because then I can hold up momentary blink on Skyclave in a different turn. Sure, yeah. I could also just get a Surveil land if I feel like I want to hold up a 2-mana momentary blink for some reason. Is there any reason this Ghost Vacuum is awkward? I don't think so. It's going to be a while until they get to use it. Because I could blink the Skyclave right now to kill the Ghost Vacuum. Maybe that's better, and then I just have 2 creatures that can block a Triumph of St. Catherine. I could also save the Momentary Blink to block Triumph and just blink my Wall again. I think I'm going to blink Wall. I think I want to start drawing deeper. I don't think blinking the Skyclave is really going to be exactly where I want to be. Black, 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 white, white, blue, blue, blue. So I'll grab Tundra here. So they have 2 cards in hand. Pretty low on mana. So I think if I win this Triumph of St. Catherine exchange, I'm in a pretty good position here. So let's just blink this Wall of Omens. Oh, we drew spectral restitching. Interesting. And march. Okay, so I can't march the Triumph, but I could block it and then spectral restitching a bunch of my cards. I could restitching on my end steps so that their cards don't, like, they don't have any mana to actually counter it. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna restitching for 4, getting rid of their 2 creatures and my 2 creatures. And then when the Skyclave comes back, I can kill the Ghost Vacuum. I guess maybe I want to use the Momentary Blink before the Ghost Vacuum gets to get rid of it. Oh, maybe that was the consideration for using Sky. Actually, no. If I had Skyclave, they could just respond. Um. So if they Ghost Vacuum on the end step, and I commit to Momentary Blinking, I can blink Skyclave, killing Ghost Vacuum, and then I have 2 blockers for Triumph of St. Catherine. Well, let's see what they do on the end step here. I don't really have to be the first person uh to decide what I'm gonna do. Double blocking Triumph actually doesn't seem like nearly as good as it could be. Like I think I might just want to try and get this march going. Let's see if they exile the Momentary Blink or not. I mean, I assume they're going to, but yeah. So I don't know how much I care about this Momentary Blink right now. Like if I blink my Skyclave, I can eat their Ragavan, and then I could block Triumph with just Wall of Omens, but I kind of want to get the draw from the Wall of Omens. I could blink Wall to draw a card, but that doesn't really get me anywhere. Like this Triumph is pretty aggressive. I could just take 5 from the Triumph to get an extra card, which is kind of what I'm doing with the Momentary Blink here to just like get some card advantage. Maybe I will just take 5 from the Triumph. I think I kind of want the card off of this Momentary Blink. I do. Force Negation's not a terrible draw. It's not the best. If I do draw 6 land, I could just like hard cast for 6 mana, march the Triumph of St. Catherine. But yeah, I think taking 5 here is actually fine. It's gonna be a while before I start to try and win the game anyways. So the difference between 18 and 23 for my opponent in terms of more aggressive perspective is not that deep or not that high. And the difference between 15 and 10 for me is relevant, but I don't think as relevant as making sure I have a steady influx of cards. Um, Jailer's good, but I think I'm supposed to restitching on their turn. They could have something like a Wandering Emperor here, which makes restitching a little better. I could also mark. They have 2 cards. I guess if I restitch on their turn, then I can't Force of Negation. If I Jailer here, they could just counterspell me. Maybe I'm supposed to wait until their end step or go to a block and then Spectral Restitching. This is tough. They've been stuck on 3 lands for a while, so we know that their 2 cards are action. If I play Jailer and it resolves, I basically win the game on the spot, which leads me to think that I want to like do things that put me into a position where I get to resolve Jailer. So I think I'm gonna pass and Spectral Restitching at some point. Even if it draws out a counterspell from my opponent. I think if the following turn I play Palace Jailer, I'm pretty likely to be in a position where the game is really winnable. Yeah. Okay, so now I think my plan is to go for a block on the Triumph of St. Catherine with um my Wall of Omens probably. Then I'll spectral restitching my wall. I could just spectral restitching the wall and hold up Force of Negation. Maybe that's the line. Because if I'm gonna kill the Triumph of St. Catherine with Palace Jailer anyways, I guess if I bounce my Skyclave though with the spectral, then I get to kill the Ghost Vacuum, which is pretty enticing. And I get my 3/3 off the thing. So let's see here. I think I'm gonna block with wall, and now I have to decide if I'm gonna cast Spectral for 1 on the Wall of Omens, or if I'm gonna cast it for 2 targeting wall and Skyclave. But leaving my Force of Negation weak. Because if I Spectral for 1 on the Wall of Omens, I don't actually think they're gonna counterspell it. Like, I don't think there's a reason for them to counter it. Whereas if I do Spectral for 2, which is what I'm going to do, I think they're now incentivized to counterspell it, which means that next turn I can play my Jailer and get rid of their Triumph. I also have to be cognizant of their potential Wrath effects. But like if I Spectral here and they oh, they're bolting my Skyclave. Sure. Does this counter the Spectral restitching? I wonder. I've never thought about that. It does not. I figured it wasn't templated that way because Wizards doesn't really seem to template their cards like that anymore. uh, I think I'm supposed to keep March in my hand. We'll see. We'll see what I draw off of um the Wall of Omens coming back. They fetched immediately for Plateau, which I assume means that they're playing Flame Slash or Flage. Okay. Yeah, Flage makes sense. Uh, so with Flage here, now I know that my Palace Jailer is going to resolve. So I'm going to wait for this Wall of Omens to come back, see what my card is off of the trigger. Then I'm going to decide whether or not I want to march the Ragavan or not. The consideration for not marching the Ragavan is that uh, uh, if Flage comes, I can actually deal with it. Like I can do something about it. The consideration for marching the Ragavan is it is super safe. Like there could be a situation where next turn I untap, play Jailer, kill their Triumph, and then they kill my Wall of Omens and attack me for 2 with Ragavan, and then I'm forced to block with Jailer, and they follow up with like another creature, and that situation could be really really bad. Um, versus if I keep my March, I get to kill the Flage at some point if and when it comes back. I think I'm gonna kill this Ragavan. I think it's gonna like I'm just more risk averse here, especially when I'm gonna be the one that has the Monarch. Plus, I actually might not Inquisition them because I don't know if I want to give them the potential extra card for Flage. I don't know. We'll see. I might anyways. Maybe Inquisitioning them before Jailering is a good idea. I'm just gonna hit them. It's fine. They'll only go up to 4 cards in graveyard if this Inquisition hits. Okay, mental misstep, sure. Yeah, so they went up to 4 cards in graveyard. So I guess my worst draw is for them to draw a fetch land. I thought it was more likely that the card in their hand was relevant than it was that they draw fetch land. Like I felt like the risk analysis there was better. But in hindsight, if I had known their card was mental misstep, I would not have cast. I would not have cast the Inquisition of Kozilek. Overlord was a pretty reasonable draw, though, there. Now, this Ghost Vacuum might end up becoming relevant at some point. Recruiter of the Guard is a good draw. So if I draw land, I play Recruiter, and I probably just hold up Force of Negation, would be my guess. Solitude is also a pretty good draw. I think since I drew Solitude, I'm more incentivized to play an Overlord of the Bilmerk. I'm playing it pre-combat because depending on what they do, I might not even attack with my Jailer. Because they could have like Snapcaster Mage or something that they could trade off with. And at this stage, the 2 damage doesn't matter nearly as much as having something that I could theoretically get. Yeah, let's get something back here. Let's get the Witch Enchanter. Oh, that's good. That'll deal with the Ghost Vacuum at some point. But having the Jailer in play, like I'm not going to attack here because having the Jailer in play is more relevant as a flicker target. And now we're just like really, really far ahead. And this is sort of part of the reason I wanted to get rid of the Ragavan, because I felt once I started getting the Monarch, it would push me to the stage where I'm able to deal with a Flage or I'm able to deal with a Vacuum before they become relevant. And that turned out to be true in this case. Yeah, they're just going to take my Spectral Restitching, sure. If they play land, I think next turn I'm going to play Witch Enchanter and just kill the Ghost Vacuum and attack for 7. Actually, I might not even attack with Jailer. It kind of depends. Like, maybe attack with Jailer, depending on if I draw a white card that I'm willing to get rid of with Solitude. Mox is really relevant this game in a way that no other card would have been, really. Which is worth considering, because I was thinking of potentially cutting one of the Moxes. Okay, we drew a Fatal Push, so I think it's safe to attack with the Jailer here. So I think I'm going to attack first to figure out what I get with my Overlord. They could have something like the Wandering Emperor, but I think that's fine. I'm not that worried about the Wandering Emperor here, and if they play it, I can just cast Force of Negation and get a Johnny here. So I just need now that I'm really far ahead, I need to make sure that I don't lose to things that my opponent could draw that I could play around. So I don't know if I'm going to commit this to Johnny just yet, even though it gives me a little more damage. 18, so if I swing 2 more times, I deal 7, so I need an extra 2 damage in play. So I think I'm going to play this Witch Enchanter because it just deals with this Ghost Vacuum. Actually, I don't really need to right now because it's only exiling like random cards in the graveyard. It's not really doing anything that relevant. Maybe I keep a Johnny as my Solitude target and I just play a Recruiter of the Guard. I could also just hold up Force of Negation and play a Johnny, which is also pretty tempting, actually. Because if they go for it, yeah, I'm going to play a Johnny. I'm going to play a Johnny here. It gives me a 2-turn clock, and I get to hold up a Force of Negation here. If they have a Wrath effect, I'm still the Monarch. With Recruiter of the Guard for Soul Herder as a potential engine. I'll put this Plains in the graveyard here. I have Witch Enchanter to deal with the Ghost Vacuum. Fatal Push can deal with a Flage. I mean, it isn't forever, but that's fine. Seachrome Coast, not a great draw, but I mean, can you really complain? Okay, they're not playing anything, which has me feeling like they have potential access to a Wrath effect, but if they did, I think they would have Wrathed earlier, so I'm not really sure what the context of their hand could be. If they had a counter spell, they would have countered a Johnny, unless it was specifically Mana Leak. Excuse me, or No More Lies. This might be an expressive iteration. I'll probably counter any non-creature spell that they cast here. Pyroglyph is fine. I get to Fatal Push this after they kill whatever they kill. They're going to kill my Overlord, I assume. Sure. I'll just Fatal Push it now. So I have potential 7 mana, so I could play Witch Enchanter and hold up Force of Negation. My clock is now, let's see, 5, so they go to 13, and then if I play Witch Enchanter, kill the Ghost Vacuum, um, they're gonna play Flage. I could Recruiter the Guard for something that deals with the graveyard. I guess the Boggart Trawler is already exiled though, so I don't actually have any graveyard removal for the Flage. Um, I could just wait for them to Flage and then cast Solitude on my end step. That might be worth considering. If I Witch Enchanter, well, I'm gonna attack first. Let's get the attacks out of the way here, and I'll think about it while I'm doing that. So, if I Witch Enchanter, hold up Force Negation, they play Flage, and then I'm forced to Solitude it anyways. So I think I'm actually just gonna play Seachrome Coast and hold up Solitude and Force of Negation. It's Flage 5 or 6. I think it's 5, yeah. So if they commit to Flage, then they get to kill whatever from my board. I guess probably like Palace Jailer, and then I just Solitude it. They go up to 19, but then I'm hitting them for 6 a turn, which I'll be able to add 1 to at some point. Yeah. I could even like Recruiter the Guard for Orcish Masters to deal the last point of damage. I drew Soul Herder. That's pretty interesting. I could also Soul Herder and just start a value combo train holding up Force of Negation with Wall of Omens. Like there aren't really creatures that are going to deal with that, right? If they play 5th land, that's the turn after that is the turn that I have to cast Witch Enchanter. Although it might be worth casting like well, no. Yeah, it might be worth casting next turn after they've unearthed this Flage. Just like Witch Enchanter, hold up my Force of Negation. Sure. I guess if they have like Bolt, Snap, Bolt in their hand, they could go right after me here, but that won't work out well for them because then I'm just going to play Solitude and gain 3 life. What are they targeting? It doesn't matter. I'll just let them kill the Ajani. Yeah. I do. The Soul Herder is a blue card for Force of Negation, so there is a consideration there to like keeping it in hand, so I have the Force of Negation for free. Let's play the Solitude. They still haven't played a 5th land, so I still don't think I have to Witch Enchanter next turn. Takanuma, not going to be super useful this game. Let's play the Scalding Tarn. I'm going to cast my... It might just be worth casting the Witch Enchanter now. I'm going to cast Recruiter the Guard. I don't actually know what I'm going to find with this, but I mean, it has to be fine, right? Like, this has to be good, would be my guess. Philia, Sin Collector, Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster not really good against Ghost Vacuum. Guide of Souls, Loran, Opposition Agent, Orcish Bowmasters, uh, Starfield Shepherd. I could just get like Skullcap Snail's kind of weak, I think. Flicker Wisp. I could get Mockingbird to copy Jailer or Solitude. I do think I want to start playing around a Wrath effect now. So maybe I'm supposed to get like Philia. I think I will get Philia. Just an instant speed piece of interaction. And then yeah, I'm just gonna pass the turn here after I attack. It's gonna take me a while, but I am in a pretty good position here. Hopefully we can close it out. I don't know. I don't I try not to doubt Jeskai's potential power. There was consideration to playing Witch Enchanter because if they play land here and then they don't counter my Philia, then maybe things go bad for me when they Ghost Vacuum, but or like if I then play Witch Enchanter and they can beat my Force of Negation, like there's small things and they draw land after that. Like there's a lot of like potential scenarios where I still lose this game, but um I think recruitering for something to deal with a potential wrath effect where they are able to fight the counter war is pretty good. Like I do want to close this game. I do want to start closing this game out faster if I can help it. Like I do want to win in the next 2 turns ideally, and I think Feely helps me do that the best. 5 mana. Wrath of the Skies for 3. Killing nothing that's relevant? Maybe I just let this resolve. That's 4th Air Lingus. Okay, I'll counter that one. Solitude, pretty good. I think Philia is good to play because I can just bounce my Recruiter the Guard, get an extra creature. So it's like not really card disadvantage if the Philia joins the potential Wrath. I am committed to casting the Switch Enchanter next turn, which I need to remember. But I think I'm going to keep the Soul Herder in my hand. Mesmeric Fiend is pretty reasonable. I don't know if I want to cast the Fiend right away, or if I want to wait until potential post-Wrath considerations. Because their Wrath might not be in their hand. It might be on top of their deck. Like, that might be what they need to play to. I think I am going to bounce the Recruiter the Guard here with the Philia. I'll probably get something like an Orcish Bowmasters would be my guess. I think I am going to cast the Mesmeric Fiend. It's just unlikely enough that they don't have anything in hand. Or sorry, they don't have anything on top of their library. And this is like, I'm going to try and make the next turn cycle the last turn of the game. So let's get rid of this Flame of Anor. So they have a Spell Pierce. Okay, so they really don't have anything, which means they have to basically top deck Terminus to stay alive here. And then I'm gonna... They don't have any way of drawing... Like, they can't Mystical to draw stuff. They just conceded. Whew! That was a slog of a game 1. I feel like this matchup is going to be just nothing but slog. Which is kind of what I imagined when I was building this deck, because I play a lot of Jeskai, and I was like, oh, I think that this matchup's going to be a slog. I can't keep this hand, just has no lands. Very insightful commentary from your favorite Highlander YouTube channel. This hand is keepable because I get to play Watcher for tomorrow, try to find a land, and I can Spectral Restitching the Watcher to grab that land. I think since I'm pretty far away from Overlord, it's a consideration to get rid of. I could also get rid of Guide of Souls because Overlord's actually pretty good in this matchup. And I don't know if I'm actually going to have the creatures to be able to support the Guide of Souls, so I think I will get rid of that one. This is a game where turn 1 Ragavan would be good for my opponent. This is a hand that, like, Moxton are funny, but sometimes you just lose to Spell Pierce, so we'll see if my opponent decides to Spell Pierce this Mox if they have it. I think generally speaking, you should be doing that, especially if it's early enough in the game. So we do want to draw land still, just in case our opponent has stuff for our mocks here. Okay, well, let's play Island so we don't get dazed off this mocks. Which is something I also would do if I was in their position. Just have to hope this Watcher doesn't get, like, spell snared, basically. Okay, so Marsh Flats is exactly the card we're looking for. Next turn, I get to Spectral Restitching the Watcher, get the Marsh Flats into play, and then I can either Fatal Push on their turn, or I can grab a Surveil land and try to hit turn 3 Overlord. Watcher says leaves, so I don't even have to worry about them killing the Watcher in response to the Spectral Restitching. The only reason they would do that is if they don't want me to have the next card off of the Watcher, but I am guaranteed to get this Marsh Flats next turn. Even if my opponent... Unless my opponent has a counterspell, I suppose. If they have a counterspell, then maybe it's worth waiting to Spectral Restitching on their turn. But I guess we'll see what they end up playing. I think my dream play here from them, if they don't have any counter magic to interrupt like what I would do after their play, is for them to play some sort of 2-drop. I guess the Johnny isn't really the 2-drop I had in mind. It's whenever one of our cats you control die. Okay. So depending on what I draw here, I might have an interesting attack where I attack with the Watcher for tomorrow. And then if I have the black land, I can Fatal Push the Ajani. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play this Windswept Heath, and I'm going to attack. And if they block with the Cat Warrior, I can kill the Ajani and then trade the Watcher for tomorrow for the Cat Warrior token, but get the Marsh Flats. And then I have Overlord of the Mistmoors the next turn. Alternatively, I could just play land and Spectral Restitching for 2, one being the Watcher, one being the Cat Warrior token, and then the Ajani's just a 1/2, because it says when it dies, not when it leaves the battlefield. That's a tough call, because the Spectral Restitching will be good like later in the game, but right now it's kind of at its best it's going to be in this early game. Because after the Watcher leaves, I'm going to play turn 4 Overlord. I could just Spectral leave the Ajani. I don't know. Maybe leaving the Ajani is kind of fake, though. I think I'm just going to attack here. And then they also might not block here, and if they don't block, I just get two free damage. Yeah, so they didn't block. So now I'm going to cast the Spectral Restitching. Although I could, actually no, I want the 4th land to threaten Overlord. So I'm gonna fetch here, get my Scrub land, and then I'm gonna cast Spectral Restitching, targeting these two. It's possible they have like Daze or something here. If that's the case, I don't think I'm that worried about it. There's not a lot of ways to kill your own cat token in the Jeskai deck, like unless you're pointing an actual removal spell at it. And if they point a removal spell at their cat token next turn to flip the Ajani, then that's fair enough. Okay, so they did daze me. I guess I'm just gonna pass here. Okay, let's see if they kill their Ajani or not. Or kill the cat token. If they kill the cat token, flip the Ajani, make a 2/1, I can still just attack the Ajani, get the Marsh Flats, and then cast Overlord. I could also just draw a 4th land here and cast Overlord, depending on what they do. Yeah, so they're holding up a counter spell, most likely. So let's attack with the Watcher for tomorrow. I'm trying to think if I want to commit this Spellseeker mana, or if I want to cast the Mesmeric Fiend here. I think I'm just going to cast Spellseeker. Fiend, I think Fiend is actually worse than Spellseeker here. But the Mesmeric Fiend loses to more stuff. Like, they don't even have to counterspell it necessarily. They could just kill it after it resolves if they have double removal spell. So yeah, let's use the ability here. I think I'm supposed to grab uh well, let's see here. I think I'm supposed to grab where is it? Ephemerate. I don't think there's anything really else that I could consider. I think Ephemerate's powerful enough here. Lets me get a couple cards off Watcher for tomorrow, potentially. Um, it's awkward with my mana, but I think that's fine. I'm just going to take another 3 from this cat and the Ajani. Like, I could have gotten Essence Flux, for example, but I think it's just, like, so much worse than Ephemerate that I would rather have access to the Ephemerate. Because, again, I can still Ephemerate the Watcher for tomorrow, and if they kill it, then I just get the Marsh Flats. And yeah, the Ephemerate goes away, but that's fine. I'm still trading a one for one, but I get access to more mana for the rest of the game. Like, more colored mana. And then if I draw land, the Ephemerate's good, because then I can just, like, hold up Ephemerate on Spellseeker after I Mesmeric Fiend, or, like, I could Fiend and then respond with Ephemerate if I want to do that. I think I'm just going to take 3 here. Otherworldly Journey. Interesting. Um, well, I think let's attack, because I'm not blocking. And then I think we maybe start with an Ephemerate on the Watcher. I could start with Otherworldly Journey on the Watcher. Because Ephemerate's a little better than Otherworldly Journey, and I don't have anywhere else I'm going to use the extra blue mana, I don't think. So I Journey the Watcher, I'm going to get this Marsh Flats, then I play the Marsh Flats, and I hold it up for push or Ephemerate. I think that's fine, yeah. Let's do this. And my Watcher gets a 1/1 counter on it. That's like not nothing here. We're kind of racing in a way. I was thinking about this earlier, but I think blue Mox might be the worst Mox in the deck. Okay, so I get my land here. It's fine. Let's play Ephemerate. I could try to Mesmeric Fiend now, but I think I'm gonna try to do something on their turn that where they try to respond with a counterspell, and then I cast Overlord on the following turn. I'm gonna take a little bit of extra damage because of this. Like, I could have just Fatal Pushed the Ajani there if I wanted to, but I think it makes a little more sense in this position to like try to force them to cast whatever counterspell they've been holding up. I don't. We're on the 5th turn, and they didn't wasteland me. So yeah, I think they've missed a land drop too. So we know that they're a little short on mana, which means that this like holding up this counterspell costs them way more than it normally might, especially if they didn't draw land. So like here, for example, if they pass the turn, I think I'm gonna fetch, get planes, and then cast Ephemerate on my Spellseeker. Or I might... No, I can't... If I get white-black, I have to get Godless Shrine and go down to 7, which I don't really want to do. But I could try and kill their Ajani. I guess the unfortunate thing about Ephemerate here is that it does lose to a removal spell. Like a 1-mana removal spell, but I might not have a better option. I could just go to 7 and Fatal Push their Ajani. Because then my Spellseeker becomes more relevant to them, so they'll be pretty incentivized to counterspell it. And then if I just slam Overlord of the Mistmoors, I think I'm in really good shape. Okay, they're casting or they're breaking Prismatic Vista here. For what it's worth, I think this game has been pretty complicated, and I think there's a lot of places where I probably didn't play optimally. So I'd be interested to hear from everyone like what they think those places might be. So I could have, if I ephemerate my Spellseeker, then my ephemerate gets exiled the next turn. If I fatal push the Ajani, take an uptick. If I ephemerate my Spellseeker, I can get like another piece of interaction. Like I could get something like Prismatic Ending. They might have a Forcible in hand. Uh, I could ephemerate my Spellseeker, get Essence Flux my Spellseeker to put a 1/1 counter on it. Then they're like pretty incentivized to bounce it potentially with Teferi. I don't know. Let's fetch here first. I think we're definitely casting Ephemerate because I don't want to take the extra damage to try and kill the Ajani this turn. I might just try and do that next turn potentially. So let's Ephemerate the Spellseeker. They might have a Solitude here. If they have a Solitude here, that's pretty good, but I don't actually know if it's lights out because I'm going to play Overlord and have the 2/2/1s. They could be Forcibling my Ephemerate. Although I don't know if you'd really want to Forcible this. Yeah, okay, they're Solituding. I think this is fine too. They're down to 1 card in hand, so their 1 card plus their Teferi has to beat my Overlord. They get to bounce one of my 2/1s if they want. It's gonna be close. If I draw white or a black land and I get to kill their Ajani plus play an Overlord, I think that's gonna be really good. Okay, they're just returning their Ajani. Interesting. So they're suiting up for a long game. But this means I can block this. I guess I can't block the cat token next turn, but they don't get to bounce one of my 2/1s, which are guaranteed to kill Teferi. Okay, I could also Mesmeric Fiend, take the Ajani, and then Charming Prince gaining 2 life. I think I'm just gonna get the Overlord out here. I'm taking 2 off the cat to do this. I know they don't have days. They could theoretically have Force plus blue card if they had drawn it off of Teferi, but pretty unlikely there. So now the game is kind of in this like waiting period where if I get to untap with Overlord, I'm pretty likely to get there if they don't have a removal spell, or even if they do, I might have a blink effect. Charming Prince gaining 3 life is pretty relevant here because if they try to sacrifice value for pressure, I get to just completely invalidate that. The Mesmeric Fiend's probably going to be pretty good here. Like they're pretty unlikely to have a bunch of pieces of removal. They probably only have 1 piece of removal right now if they do have any. So I think I'm in a pretty okay position, but I mean things are pretty tight. They're also at 10, so I could theoretically try to position myself for a more aggressive stance. Although I think I am just supposed to kill Teferi before I start doing anything like that. Yeah, if I draw black source next turn, I get to do everything. Like I get to Mesmeric Fiend into Charming Prince and do whatever based on that prince or based on what I see in their hand. Plus I get to Fatal Push the Ajani. Are they not casting it? They might have Snapcaster Mage for Unholy Heat, potentially. Interesting. I think since I'm not as worried about my life total, I don't think I'm going to block this cat. I really want to get this Teferi off the board. It's actually a really good answer to my Overlord in a couple of turns. So I don't want to like trade with cat and then have them kill my insect token, and then I never have a way to get this Teferi off the board. Because once they play the Ajani, like it's very unlikely that I'm going to get to a position where I'm actually able to take the Teferi down. So. And since I have this Charming Prince to gain 3 life if I want it, which I'll probably end up doing realistically, I think this is just a little bit of a better play. Let's see if they surveil to the top or bottom here. The opponent really considering the surveil. Must be an in-betweener. Okay, they kept it on top. I get to Mesmeric Fiend first before deciding where my insect tokens attack, which is pretty nice. And then I get to play Charming Prince and gain 3 life. I would really like to draw the, like, sort of basic swamp here would be ideal. Okay, Overlord isn't the worst draw. Although, something... Being black heavy, it's not ideal. I think I am gonna cast the Mesmeric Fiend here. Getting information on, like, where I need to send my creatures to deal with this Teferi, I think is pretty important. It could be a No More Lies here. A Reprieve, okay. Okay, that's fine. That gives me a bunch of information. It means that I know I can send one at Teferi and then one at them. Unfortunately, I'm not really in the position to be blocking these Cat Warrior tokens, because if a Johnny flips, I'm actually in a pretty tough situation, I think. Actually, let's see. Makes just a bunch of cat tokens. Well, let's see if this Charming Prince resolves first. I think I'm just going to gain 3 life off this Prince. Scry 2 is tempting because I really want a second black source here, but they could have something like Subtlety, so I want to figure out if I'm gonna gain 3 life, or if I feel like I'm gonna need to Scry based on, like, if they counter this, where I'm gonna send my insect tokens. So if they attack with both cat tokens, I do just get to start attacking them more. I have a Fatal Push for any potential blockers they have that aren't cats. They did keep something on top. I'm not exactly sure what they would have been thinking of, but here's hoping it's not good in this specific circumstance. Yeah, I really would like to have that second black source. It's possible I should have gotten the Godless Shrine off of the fetch. But I think at the time I was more worried about my life total. Because of how under duress it felt like I was. If I drop black source, maybe I play Fiend plus push probably would be my best line, or one of my better lines. I am at the stage where I just kind of want to live. The only reason I even attacked with my insect tokens is because I'm not blocking a cat warrior token and letting them flip their Johnny for free. They might be killing my Charming Prince here and hitting me down to 6, which I think is pretty reasonable. If that's the case, then what I'll do is I'll just leave my insects back and I'll hold up Fatal Push for the Johnny trigger. I do have this Overlord ticking down, so I have to be really cognizant of that. Like, I really want to live to the point where this Overlord can potentially take over the game. I could also draw one of the, like, 1 or 2 flicker effects that actually flicker the enchantment creatures, like the Overlords. That would be kind of sick. Chain Lightning, one of my 2/1 flyers. Yep. I think they've recognized that like, racing me is going to be pretty challenging if they're attacking with both cat tokens. I mean, they might as well attack with 1. Oh, they're cutting me off of black. Wow. When they wasteland me here. That's pretty unfortunate from my perspective. They can attack with 1 cat token here, but not 2 from their perspective. Okay, attacking with 2 I think is not that good if you think that you're racing me. I guess maybe you kill the insect and you think the race starts to favor you because you have the Ajani. But then next turn I get to keep back both of my creatures. I do think this is the correct attack. I think you really want to attack with 1, because then I can't attack with my Charming Prince. I guess I could attack with my Charming Prince, and I might, depending on what happens. I really don't want them to wasteland me here. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, I drew a second black source, so Um, do I feel like Mesmeric Fiending their hand is better? I mean, I do really want to cast Fatal Push because of the Sejani. So now that I've drawn this extra black source, I think I'm supposed to Mesmeric Fiend them, and then uh based on this Mesmeric Fiend, I can decide like if I want to push the Ajani now and just start to push damage, or if I want to wait. I think I might want to wait because the Overlord is. Oh, I took a Terminus. Okay, I see. That's why they didn't wasteland me, because they felt like the Terminus might be good enough. Okay, so I could wasteland this Ajani and attack for 2. I could also just attack for 4. Um, I don't know if attacking is even that good here. I do have an Overlord just coming off of uh they don't have anything in the graveyard. I have an Overlord coming off in 2 turns, so it's attacking in 3 turns. Next turn, I'm going to get to hardcast Overlord of the Baelmerk. They're incentivized to attack, and I get to blow them out with Fatal Push potentially on the Ajani. Although, maybe I'm supposed to push Ajani right now because if they draw a counterspell, then I'm actually in pretty deep trouble. And I want to. Do I want to attack, though, if that's the case? They block here. I hit them down to 6. Kill their Ajani. They have a 2/2. They attack me for 2. But I have this 2/1 flyer that's killing them faster, and I'm going to cast an Overlord. I actually think I'm going to attack here. Because if they block, I just get to kill their Ajani. And then they're left with a 2/1. They get to kill one of my black sources. Uh, they're left with a 2/1. They get to kill one of my black sources. But they're at 6. If they attack with their 2/1, I get to hit them for 3 if they draw nothing. And then I play an Overlord of the Baelmerk, and I have access to at least 2 creatures in my graveyard, but like very realistically more. Okay, they drew Sleight of Hand. I thought it was Recall for a second. I was like, oh no. I mean, that happens. Recall does break games wide open like that. Uh, I'm gonna pop my opponent's graveyard here just to see, because it could be relevant for Snapcaster Mage considerations. They could also kill my Mesmeric Fiend, and then in preparation to be terminusing me, uh, like terminusing after the Overlord comes off of suspend. But I think this insect actually kills them before the Overlord. Oh no, it puts them to 2. Okay, so they did actually draw Snapcaster Mage from the Sleight of Hand. So I wonder what they're considering here. I think my play would probably be just to Unholy Heat the Mesmeric Fiend, hold on to Terminus for the turn um, after like my opponent's Overlord comes off, which means I'm not going to be committing Overlord of the Baelmerk. Uh, I might, I could, I don't think I'm. I think since they're going to have to commit 6 mana to the Terminus the following turn, I'm probably not going to hardcast or even cast the Overlord, because I'll want to hardcast it the turn afterwards. It really depends on what I draw, because there is a consideration to overlording to get Watcher for Tomorrow back, because then it gives me a card back when the Terminus happens. So they're gonna hit me for 2, and then I'm gonna hit them for 2 down to 4. My Overlord's gonna come off impending, and then they're gonna untap and hardcast Terminus, and then I'm gonna hardcast Overlord of the Baelmerk and maybe get my Overlord back, depending on if I draw land. Reanimate is pretty good. I can reanimate the Mesmeric Fiend, getting the Terminus. Then they have 1 turn to draw anything that does anything against the Overlord. I think that's good. I take 2 damage. So maybe I'm supposed to... I think I'm supposed to Overlord. Yeah, okay. So let's reanimate. Let's Overlord first. Overlord with impending. The reason I'm doing this is because it gives me an extra creature body. I guess I could have Overlorded my Mesmeric Fiend and not reanimated it. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what options I have. I think I want to reanimate the Fiend though, because I want to get Watcher for tomorrow into play in case they draw another Wrath effect. Then I get access to a card. And I'm still at 5 life, so I'm not in trouble in terms of like dying to like maybe fourth. I don't know if fourth Aerlingus even really does it. It might. I actually think maybe I'm supposed to get Charming Prince there. Because if they draw fourth Aerlingus, I might actually be in tough shape with only 3 blockers. They fourth for 4. Okay, yeah, I think getting Watcher for tomorrow might have been bad. Uh Cloudshift, Grief, Philia, Skyclave. I guess I want Skyclave. Yeah, I think a fourth Aerlingus actually wins them the game here. Yep. Yeah, so I think that was a misplay. I think I'm supposed to get Charming Prince back and just gain 3 life and just decide that if they have another Wrath effect, I'm fine with that. They don't even have actual Wrath of Gods, so I don't know why I didn't get Charming Prince there. Like, fourth Aerlingus wins the game for sure. Double. Uh, oh, am I getting punished? What's happening? I am. I'm getting punished. I'm actually losing because I didn't get Charming Prince. That's crazy. Wow. Wow, I can't believe I'm losing this game. That's so bad. Yeah. Okay, wow, we go to game 3. That's crazy. So many misplays. And they had to draw the fourth top one out of like 60 or whatever. That's my bad though. I could have won that game. If I get Charming Prince, I just win the game. Even if they play fourth Aerlingus, there's no way I lose. Um, this hand's great. I guess I'm gonna get Black White, Mox Sapphire, play Wall of Omens probably. I don't think there's real reason to Thoughtseize them turn 1, especially when I have a turn 1 2-mana play. That was a good game. Unfortunately, I misplayed. If I had gotten Charming Prince, I think I win. Even if I had gotten a blocker, I actually win. Or not a blocker. It would have to be like something that means I don't die to the trample off of fourth Aerlingus. But oh well, it is what it is. Let's grab Scrubland. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna play Wall of Omens here. Oh, not off of black mana. I'm not. I'm just gonna play Wall of Omens here. I'm just gonna keep playing these draw creatures and eventually, hopefully, hit my 3rd land drop here. And then I can Ghostly Flicker them and start to get the real value train going. I really do hope I draw land next turn, because then I get to Thoughtseize plus play a Helpful Hunter, or Thoughtseize plus hold up Orcish Masters. Yeah, and the Reanimate is funny, because it also loses me the game, because I take two damage. Yeah, I think, yeah, if I just get Charming Prince back there with the Overlord, play Charming Prince, gain 3 life, I'm at 8. Then I have 1, 2. I have a bunch of blockers, and the next turn I get to attack with Overlord for lethal, so fourth Aerlingus doesn't even do it there. Interesting game too, because if my opponent didn't have Terminus, they would have wastelanded me earlier, which maybe is better for me, depending on the context of the game. But I mean, I also would have had to draw Blackland at that point. So I think them having Terminus is actually pretty lucky for me. And I got lucky, but then unfortunately didn't do anything with it. Let's see what they did with this Ponder here. They did not shuffle. Okay. Okay, I drew a Mox Jet, which is actually pretty good. I think I'm gonna Jet into Thoughtseize them, then play Helpful Hunter, because the Mockingbird can't copy a draw creature anyways. I could play creature, and then if I don't draw something, I think I'm gonna Jet. think I'm gonna Jet Thoughtseize. Because I might just pass and hold up Orcish Bowmasters if depending on what they have. Force of Negation, Invert Polarity, Pyroglyph. Um, is Pyroglyph the best card here? Is it Dress Down because it counters a flicker effect? Dress Down does counter a flicker effect. Next turn, I could flicker on their turn on their upkeep, so they don't have access to Force of Negation. Pyroglyph is going to be a while. Like, it's going to be a while before this Pyroglyph's relevant. And I do have Mockingbird, so I could hold on to that. So I think I'm going to take this Dress Down here. Then I'm just going to play Helpful Hunter. There's no reason to hold up Bowmasters now that we know the contents of their hand. I hope I draw land here. I play Flooded Strand. Now I get to find a Surveil land. I know my Mockingbird's going to be online for the eventuality that they play Pyroglyph. They're probably just going to play Ragran Triumph tapped, unless they draw something. If they draw a Counterspell, they could play Glacial Fortress, but then I'm, like, I don't even know how good that is, because then I'm just going to, like, attack for one and pass, right? I guess they don't know the contents of my hand, but it seems pretty, like, pretty unlikely to be, like, that good. I want second white, and I want another blue, I think? Maybe another black? No, I have two black. So white and blue, yeah. Let's grab Meticulous Archive here. Guide of Souls. I think that's pretty good, because I can guide, and then on their turn I can Ghostly Flicker. I don't want to Ghostly Flicker on my turn because of Force of Negation. If they draw a Counterspell after I've done all this, then you know it is that is what it is. I'm not super worried about it. So I'm gonna attack for one. Then I'm gonna play Guide of Souls. Then I'm gonna try to bounce my Wall of Omens and my Helpful Hunter on their upkeep. Okay, let's play the guide. Guide pretty nice here because with Bowmasters, it's like 2/3 of the way there. Okay, so if they drew a counterspell, it is what it is. It does mean I like sort of waste their full turn here. But I wanna try and do this now before they get access to Invert Polarity mana. Okay, cool. So we're drawing two, we're getting a bunch of life, we're getting the Guide of Souls triggers. Let's yield to this trigger, but the draw triggers I won't yield to just yet, because I might actually need to respond to them in the future. You never know. So now they play Glacial Fortress and pass, and I just get to attack for two and pass. And then if they play a Pyroglyph, I get to respond with Orcish Bowmasters. I guess they Pyroglyph kill my Guide of Souls, but that's fine. Grief. Unfortunately, against Invert Polarity, Grief doesn't really do a whole lot. I could evoke it, but then if they win the flip, it's really, really bad. I think I'm just going to attack and play a land and pass. It's unfortunate that their Pyroglyph's going to be able to kill this Guide of Souls before I really get to do a whole lot with it, but it is what it is. I could have played Mockingbird pre-combat for one to try and copy the Guide of Souls, and then if they invert polarity and win the flip, then it's kind of, you know, not that good for me, but I think this is fine. Because I want them to be in this situation where, like, if they draw fourth land, then they have to decide whether or not they're going to play the Pyrogoyf or they're going to hold up the invert polarity. But the problem with holding up invert is, like, if I play some random card that isn't really that relevant, like, they're going to have to fire off the invert, and then I can play something that's more relevant. If they just pass here, I don't think I'm going to play Bowmasters on my end step. I think I'm pretty okay to keep parity going at this stage. I might, depending on what happens, I might next turn lead with Mockingbird and then try to grief them. But yeah, so they drew the fourth land, and now they have to decide, like, do they want to Pyrogoyf or do they want to hold up invert polarity for whatever it is my follow-up play is? There's a consideration to not Bowmastering here if they play Pyrogoyf. Because if I draw land, I can play my own Pyrogoyf off of the Mockingbird and then Bowmasters to kill their Pyrogoyf. We'll see. I'm not sure what I'll do if they play Pyrogoyf. I think they might play Pyrogoyf and I might just play like an Overlord of the Balemerk. They have, what, enchantment, sorcery, instant, land, so it's a 4/5. So my Overlord stacks up like pretty reasonably against it, and then if I do draw that sixth land, then I can Mockingbird copy it and Orcish Bowmasters it. But I think if they just pass here, I'm just gonna like allow this because I don't actually want them to invert my Bowmasters because then they kill my Helpful Hunter. You know, I lose like a little bit of potential draw engine. Like I've still got some stuff going on here. Is Mesmeric Fiend good enough to cast into the invert polarity? I don't really know. I think maybe the Mockingbird is, because them having a Guide of Souls is kind of whatever. And I'll just plan on beating the Pyrogoyf. See, that's the problem, is the Mockingbird helps me. I guess I can beat the Pyrogoyf with flying, like just with my Guide of Souls flying. Plus Overlord, like... Yeah, I think I'm just going to Mockingbird for one here. If they invert this, then they get a Guide of Souls if they win the flip, and if they don't win the flip, then I get to grief their Pyrogoyf away. This is actually a pretty tough decision from my opponent's perspective. Like, I think they're really hard-pressed here to like to figure out exactly what this Mockingbird is doing, but all this Mockingbird is doing is putting a faster clock on my opponent. Like, I'm gonna make it a Guide of Souls, then I'm gonna jump my Helpful Hunter and hit them for 3 plus 1, so 4, and that's gonna put them on a 4-turn clock. Because if this Mockingbird resolves, I'm not casting anything else this turn. I'm just gonna play Orcish Bowmasters on their turn. I think I should have done this last turn, but I actually don't hate not doing it because I think last turn it's easier to put them on. They just think they have to cast invert polarity because they're going to slam Pyrogoyf the next turn. But I feel like now I've almost wasted a full turn of their mana. I guess they could have the Wandering Emperor, but my Guide of Souls has kind of already done its work. And if they cast the Wandering Emperor, I can cast Orcish Bowmasters in response, or I can cast Grief on my second main, which maybe is better. Okay. Yes. I would like to target my Helpful Hunter. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass here. So I know 3 of their 6 cards. Invert, Pyrogoyf, Force of Negation. Okay, Mystic Sank. Are they putting anything on top? I guess as they put Gitaxian Probe on top. Maybe Ponder? I don't know. It's hard because like they don't... I don't know if they really want to be spending mana casting Ponders and stuff when they like feel like they might need to interact with me. So putting one of these on top might actually be bad. Because they might anticipate that they need the mana next turn to actually fight whatever it is I'm doing. I guess if they get probe, I can Bowmasters them too, potentially. I might Bowmasters on their end step because if they invert polarity and they win the flip, they're targeting Ponder. If they invert polarity and win the flip, then they don't kill my my helpful hunter anymore, and then I can untap and slam Grief to take their Pyroglyph. And if I draw land, I can like Grief into Mesmeric Fiend them if I want to. Or I just get the option to Overlord for 5 mana. Although I don't think I would take that option. I think I want to get rid of this Pyroglyph if I can help it. If they play Pyroglyph here, then I just get to play Bowmasters, ping them for 1, make 4 energy, start flying. Oh, they're actually conceding. Wow. Okay, GG's. It was really close. Astute observation, past Trent. It was, in fact, really close. I'm glad I could avenge you, Liam. One improbable force of will at a time. Thank you to Jay Wyatt on the Discord for organizing the October async. It's been a blast. Thanks to all of our opponents for agreeing to us recording our matches with them. And I really hope we'll do another one of these series in the future. If you liked it, leave a comment down below. We love interacting with the community. Thanks for watching. Peace.